Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. We are going to talk about, financial independence, and specifically with Eric here, we're going to talk about kind of his debt freedom journey where he paid off over $66,000 worth of debt in just a little over 400 days. So that's just amazing. We're going to talk a little bit about financial independence. And, this is a monthly series where we talk about financial independence and what that means to resellers. And, we think that there is a great intertwining of these two communities. So we wanted to bring, a guest or two each month and talk about what we're interested in. And Eric is going to be such a great, he's going to have such a great story. I just know that you're going to love his story. And, if you're here with us live, let us know in the comments. But if you're watching us, in the replay, we thank you so much for joining us. So his first video was titled How I Make Easy Money Online. It's a classic. He was doing this way before it was a thing, like 9 years ago, guys. So, Eric, why don't you just give us a quick intro of who you are and tell us, how you got started 9 some odd years ago and what motivated you to make that video?
Sure. My name's Eric, and that video was when I started publishing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing it probably, I don't know, that was 2012. So a good like 3-4 years before that. And then just decided to start putting it on YouTube because no one around me did it. So it was like really seclusive, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But my name's Eric. I go online by the College Picker because everyone during that time like kind of had Picker in their name, and I was like, well, I'm in college, so I'll be the College Picker. And there was many other pickers. We'll get into that later, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I resell stuff. I went to school at that time. I was in pharmacy school. I think it was maybe my second year when I started making video, or maybe my third year. And then I graduated from pharmacy school, and I've been flipping stuff before pharmacy school. And then I've been flipping stuff after while I've been working. And now it's still a part of my life. Like I've never given that up. Got started probably in early college. I was in undergrad, and my roommates and we would have to park on campus, and it was expensive to get a parking pass, and it was hard to find car parking. So we saw that the motorcycle parking was only like $75 a semester, while the car parking was about $400 a semester. So
Whoa.
It made sense, like, hey, we could take all this extra money we're going to be saving from not having to get parking passes for our cars, go get our motorcycle licenses, buy motorcycles, and then just park them on campus. And it's like really close to class. Like motorcycle parking is always open, and you'll be like a young kid driving a motorcycle. You're going to feel cool, right? So we went and got motorcycle licenses. I went on Craigslist and bought a motorcycle. I want to say I bought it for like $900 or $1,000. And I put a little bit of work, and I think I put a fairing on it. Like built it back up to where it should have been. I think it was missing some plastics. And then I ended up outgrowing that bike because it was a really, really beginner model. And you want to get a really, really beginner model when you have a motorcycle, so you don't want to have too much power. And I outgrew it. So I put it back on Craigslist and I sold it for profit. And then from there, something just like clicked in my head. And I was like, wow, if I could do this once, there's got to be other opportunity out there.
Wow.
And that's really what drove the whole flipping stuff. And it was Craigslist motorcycles, either take better pictures or fix them up and flip them back on Craigslist. Like Craigslist to Craigslist was like my OG flips.
Nice. Wow. So that got you hooked, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez. That must have been a pretty amazing flip. Did you make over $100 profit, you think?
Oh, on that one? Yeah, it was definitely over 100. And then other subsequent bikes, we would sell 500, over $1,000 profit, like depending on the bike. And some of the parts we would sell on eBay. If they were damaged, we would still try to recoup some of the money from the bikes. Or if we had to get parts, we would buy them off of eBay too. So we were like running a motorcycle repairish or storage or flipping shop out of a house we were renting that had like an HOA. And I think the HOA called the cops on us once. I wasn't home, but my roommate said that the police came, showed up, checked all the serial number or the VIN numbers on the bikes, looked through all the titles because they thought we were doing something really illegal in the garage. Because we had like 10 motorcycles in our garage for no reason.
They probably thought you were stealing. But that's such a great story because you were doing this what seemed like if your first video was 9 years ago, you were probably doing it over a
Yeah,
decade
that was
ago, and
2012. So motorcycle flipping was 2007 since I started school in fall
Wow.
06. Yeah, it was like
that's amazing.
it was late 06, early 07.
Dang, that's really cool. That's really cool. You're one of the OGs in this particular part of the community, I think, because a lot of people know you now for doing so much more than just flipping clothes. Because from that video, you were doing clothes and shoes. You
Oh
were doing that
yeah.
way before us, because that's what we do now, and
Mhm.
that's just so fascinating to me.
And the
When I
market's changed so much since then too.
yeah,
Like, well, some of it, like
some of
Masters
it.
is still good, certain
Hmm.
stuff of Masters, but like old Master stuff, not so much. Like the
Right,
stuff I was showing in that video, not so much. It's like old
right.
style, so the
Right.
newer stuff's
Yeah.
pretty good though.
Well,
But I think it's
that's
funny because the motorcycles are big flips, and people normally start with like small
mhm.
flips. It's really easy to mess up $1,000 motorcycle
Yeah.
flip. Like a lot more risk.
Right. Well, before we get into the main part, that was a great intro. We really appreciate you kind of ramping us up there, because those are some great stories. We just want to say hi to a few people. We got the Hoogs here, we got the Garbage Monster, we've got Margaret. Hey, everybody. So thank you so much for joining us. We've got a few just quick off the cuff questions for you. We call it the quick six. So why don't you get started?
Yeah, so the first one is cooking at home or going out. Which one would you?
I like going out, but my wife cooks at home all the time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so low risk, steady returns, or high risk, huge potential.
High risk, huge potential.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow. I think you might be the first person to say that on
Yeah.
one of our lives.
I
I
mean,
think everyone else has
once
said,
in a while. Like I
Yeah.
like to do it once in a while,
Yeah.
but not as a foundation. Absolutely not as a
Yeah.
foundation.
Yeah. What's your favorite meal to make on a date or your favorite date restaurant?
Me and my wife go to Chipotle and Chick-fil-A just as our.
Nice.
That's like our
Mhm.
go-to if we're out and about because she's a very picky
Yeah.
eater. So we actually had Chick-fil-A for breakfast today.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're the same. We love Chick-fil-A and Chipotle.
Yeah.
It's good value for Chipotle, and then Chick-fil-A is just, I guess, better quality chicken. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, we always ask for extra sauce, so we feel like we get a good value at Chick-fil-A too.
Yeah.
and I get mad at her when she doesn't ask for extra sauce. She does the mobile order, and if she messes up without getting the extra srirachas, like I get kind of aggravated.
Yeah, you're like, we're missing out.
Okay, so what is a more powerful motivator? The fear of losing something or the potential to gain something?
Probably the fear.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
fear or the fear of not having. Like if I'm procrastinating, or if I feel like I don't have enough money to pay rent, like I'm way more motivated to work rather than like
Mhm.
looking at, oh, I could have a bunch of money if I did all XYZ. If I
Mhm.
don't have the money, like I'm way more motivated. So I guess that's more of a fear mindset.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. What's your dream vacation spot?
Ooh, probably just like camping on a bicycle trip on the side of the road somewhere
Mm.
in a foreign country. Like it doesn't matter the country.
Mhm.
I've done bicycle tours, and that's my favorite form of travel. And my
Mhm.
mind is most at peace when I'm in that state. So
Yeah, you've done a lot
my
of
wife doesn't like that answer because I could just totally be by myself and just camping, and it's just like for me, it's very
Mhm.
peaceful and my
Mhm.
favorite kind of traveling, vacationing.
Because you've done a lot of vlogs. I've seen them on your channel
Yes,
for sure.
we
What's your favorite memory?
the bicycle trip in Japan for sure,
Mhm.
but it wouldn't have to be Japan. Like I've been
Mm.
in the United States doing the same thing on the side of the road and very
Gotcha.
very happy. But foreign countries, there's always a charm to it. So
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, well, last question. Orange juice with or without pulp?
just not from concentrate. I don't care what it is, just not from concentrate.
Yeah. Gotta get that,
Fresh.
fresh, yeah, full orange juice. Okay, well, before we get into these other questions, we just want to say hi to a few other people that came in. Hello, Finding Treasures. Justin, the Flipping Accountant. Hey. And Jen's Closet Gems. Hey, Jen.
Hey.
Nice to meet you, Jen.
Nice to meet
Yeah. And if anyone has any questions throughout the live, you can just throw them in the chat and we will try to get to all of them. And we'll throw you up on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to remind everybody that this show is not meant to be financial advice. It's only for entertainment purposes. Do not get us or Eric in trouble. So just make sure you just, take it for what it's worth with a grain of salt. And, before we begin with all of this, we do like to kind of just throw out a working definition for everybody that financial independence is, to us, when your investments, savings, or passive income is greater than or equal to your expenses. And that might mean you retire early or not, but it really means no longer having to work to earn money if you don't want to. So basically, getting to do what you want, when you want, without having to worry about money. Um, would you add anything to that, Eric?
Yeah, I totally agree with the option, like no obligation to work, and then maybe what you want to do within reason. So I'm not going to have the money to like go to the moon or whatever, or visit space even when I'm retired. So yeah, do with what you want within reason. And for me, not being anxious about money, not having to worry about money was like a big thing. Like as soon as I paid off my student loans, like it's just like the weight is off of my shoulders, and that was like a great feeling. And then having that passive income just kind of like even makes it more secure.
Yeah, so why don't we go into that story then? Why don't we jump right into it? So why don't you tell us a little bit about this journey that you've been on? I would imagine the 66 some odd thousand had a lot to do with your student, loans
Yeah,
and whatnot.
it was all student loans. Like the only amount of debt I've ever had was student loans. I've never had consumer debt. I was fortunate enough to learn about thrifting early on in my life to where I never got like addicted to going to Nordstrom or online shopping, none of that. So I was very fortunate never to have any bad consumer debt. I never had a mortgage, which is considered good debt in some cases. Never had car payment, so very fortunate in those things. And it was just this like looming student debt. You don't think about it when you're in school because you're just like, this is what everyone does. Everyone goes to college. Everyone just takes out loans, and then you get a job.
Right.
You don't calculate the interest or anything. But once I graduated, I was paying minimum payments, auto payments from I think it was 2014, because you get like a year or maybe it's 6 months, I think, of interest-free forgiveness, and then it kicks in after 6 months. At least that's how it was when I graduated. So 6 months after, that was about 2014, and then I'm paying minimum payments. It's like $400, $500 a month, and then I look at my balance like 3 or 4 years later, and the balance was still more than I borrowed.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh!
So I borrowed $61,000 and did all those minimum payments, and then I still had $66,000. I was like, this is stupid. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's a trick. Yeah, for sure. People don't think about that enough. So what originally lit that fire to get that started, where you just felt like you really had to get going really hard on it?
I saw that actually logging into the account, looking at it, and I had read I think at that time someone had told me about Dave Ramsey, and I had like listened to some of his stuff here and there. So that definitely helped like motivate, as well as reading the Complete Guide to Money, I think is one of the books that I had read that year. And I just wanted to, I don't know, debt freedom was kind of like trending. And I was like, this is stupid. Doesn't make sense. I just want to get rid of it. Cause I always thought I was in the negative because I have this looming account against me. So I just wanted to like get rid of it. And I wasn't married, didn't have kids, could save as much money as I could compared to any other part of my life. So I was like, all right, this got to do it.
Nice.
So what are some of the ways that you like changed your habits or made that money available? What kinds of things did you do?
I decided that I wanted to pay off the loans. So just thinking, okay, I'm going to pay off the loans. That's my goal. And I had some savings. I just didn't want to throw it all in the loans right then and there. But I just, I don't think I changed my habits that much, actually. I just increased my income. Like I went to go work instead. Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. I probably was just doing like eBay stuff at that time. And I was like, all right, let's go get a pharmacy contract, make some good money, go out west. I lived in my van probably for, I want to say like 3 or 4 months before I even got an apartment. So I was able to save on rent and housing that way. And then once it got like July in Arizona, I was pretty hot in the van at night. It was like 100 degrees at midnight. So I had to try to get an apartment. I rented a room in a house with somebody. And then from there just kept continue to just make it a priority to put everything towards the loans other than saving for taxes, because it was all 1099 work.
Well, the Hoogs say impressive that you had no car payment while driving a Lambo.
Right.
Tell us about
That time
your
it was a van. Yeah, it was a Kia Sedona that I threw a twin bed in the back.
And then the garbage monster says that he remembers a Levi's.
Yes, that
jacket.
was during one of those pharmacy contracts out west.
Wow, nice. Well, we've got Patrick Murphy here too. Hey, Patrick. So let's see. When it came to your transition from, I guess, van life to those contract 1099s, and then your transition out of pharmacy related work, what made you make that switch?
Getting married. So my wife doesn't like the places I was living, like super small towns in the middle of nowhere. She wants to live closer to like airports and places where she can get better selection of Asian food and Indian food. If she wants Indian food, Burmese food, she can get her Chick-fil-A. There was no Chick-fil-A there. So just all these, she wouldn't want to live there. She had her own career. So it was just like, I don't really particularly see myself doing this forever. So we'll call it quits, and I'll just figure out making money on the side and kind of make it my full-time thing. And I followed her to Midland, Texas for, I think, 2 years we were there, and we had gotten married a little bit before then, but she was still overseas. So
nice. Well, how long, remind us when you went full-time, or you decided to transition out of that.
It was always contract. Yeah. So I was always selling stuff on the side, even when I was like in my van. Like I had a container with stuff in my van.
Wow.
Or I would bring stuff back to Florida and put it in a spare bedroom at my mom's house, and she would just ship it when it sold. So I was always like reselling. So the income never stopped, and I was always making YouTube videos. So I wasn't really making money out of YouTube videos at that time. So the reselling money like never stopped. I was able to do Amazon FBA while I was on the road, and just the small amounts of inventory I would have here and there. So I don't have like a huge expensive lifestyle. So even making $3,000 to $5,000 a month would more than cover everything plus savings. So
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's easy to give. Yeah. It's super easy to give up like making really good contract money, because I'm not spending any of it anyways. It was all going towards loans. I was still just basically working with what I studied to pay off the loans of what I'd studied, like forcefully.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, just a quick.
Well, there's a kind of a question that's related to that from Jen, and she says, do you think not going to college is becoming more popular, specifically for how expensive it is and how much debt people go into, and how much free knowledge is available? Especially since what you just said was basically like, you only really have done the thing that you studied to pay for the studying.
Yeah,
So
I think it is. It's getting super popular because with social media, everyone can share information faster. We can share pictures, we can share videos. So the lifestyle of the person that maybe didn't go to college that is still being successful is a lot more. It's like a taste in everyone's mouth, because you can see it and experience it and on your screen in essence. So unless you want a specific degree or a license, you probably really don't need to go to college unless you're going to want to work for a company that only hires people with college degrees or something like that.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you feel like you were really hustling during that, 433 odd days?
I'm usually like, I don't even feel like I was on 100% cylinders. Like, I don't know.
Wow. So it's just a very casual thing. 433 days out, and you destroyed this debt.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to do it in 365 days, and I still didn't. So it's probably just like I got complacent and lazy. I don't know.
Well, I think it's great. That's a huge sum of money, and I think that should be a lot of inspiration to a lot of people who will hopefully watch this and think, if Eric can do it, then hopefully I can do some version of that, whether it be just a casual thing, or light a fire. Because if you're saying that you weren't going 100%, then I think that might inspire someone and say, they don't have to, really kill themselves just to, work hard and really stress themselves out, I guess is what I'm really trying to get at. Uh,
Yeah.
hopefully people take inspiration from that.
Yeah, because I think part of it is like what you were saying is that you have such low expenses, so it's easier to put
Yeah,
all
I
this
think
money to the debt
I
and
got a
things.
very
Yeah.
lucky head start by not having a lot of expenses. Like my father bought me a car when I was in high school, and I drove that all throughout college. And then most of my pharmacy career, like I remember driving the Scion XA out to New Mexico for my first contract. So it's just like I was very blessed with that. And I think bike touring, because I did bike touring when I was in college, like trained me like almost on like a Spartan level where I need like the bare necessities. I
Nice.
would sleep on the floor. I wouldn't even need like a bed or anything. It's just like crash on the floor. Yeah. Some people need like purple mattress, Tempur-Pedic, all that kind of stuff. Like I really don't.
That's us. That's us.
Yeah, we had to get one of those nice mattresses for our wedding.
Okay, so a
But-
follow-up question to that, actually, what I've heard you kind of keep going on about, which is very important to me, is that you keep your expenses low, but you didn't have lifestyle inflation, is what it sounded like.
Yeah.
As you made more money, what that means to us is that when you make more money, your expenses go up, and I think people get trapped in that. Can you
A
talk
lot
a
of
little bit about
my a lot of my classmates, I've seen it. I just see it on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Instagram and Facebook when they're getting the nicer car than they had in
Yeah.
college, and they're like custom building a house, and they're getting their weekend. Like one of my friends brought a weekend car. I was like, dude, you bought a weekend car? Like, are you kidding me? It's like a Honda S2000, something that he wanted in high school. Like, it's probably appreciated in value now with used cars. It might have been an investment, but at the time, I'm just like, dude, you're gonna be paying insurance and like storage on this weekend car is silly. Like people getting boats, things like that. Yeah. I live probably now very, very close to how I lived in college or even like in high school, like very, very minimally. Like
Nice.
everything I wear is thrifted or secondhand in some point.
Yeah. Yeah, because the less you need, the more freedom you have to choose other things,
Yeah.
For sure. We have a question from Justin, and he says, what tips do you have for building passive income?
Ooh, there's a lot of ways to do it. You got to figure out what you like. Like my wife doesn't like being on video, so she started doing blogging. So decide where you want to kind of do what you want to kind of do. If you want to kind of keep your anonymity, if you want to be more of a public face, putting yourself out there. Particularly, I just harnessed the skills that I didn't realize that I had until I was in my late 20s, early 30s. And that was fixing things. Like it was a natural, innate skill that I had. And I've just figured out that not everyone can do it. And I wanted to record it and try to monetize it. And you just have to figure out what works with your skill set, like what you can do. Some people can just take a hobby. What are they? They're like smelting gold, and they make YouTube videos on it and monetize it, like stuff like that. Like you would never think the person smelting the gold would never think like, hey, I can monetize that maybe unless somebody comes and be like, hey, this is really cool, like cool angles and cool shots, and people do it. You like do it, but it doesn't start fast. It really doesn't. At least the YouTube route, like it's very, very slow. I think I've been almost a decade, and it's finally starting to trickle in. So
nice. Yeah, believe it or not, I've watched some of those smelting videos.
He gets very cool.
Yeah, some of them, they're collecting copper bars of copper after they've gone and smelted it and made it into bars. So
they're building passive income off of something they already are doing, and then they're also like holding an asset, like a physical asset too. So, or some people are probably selling it, but
so for you, when did you make the transition to start making? When did it click for you to make the more passive videos where you're doing tutorials or how to fix this thing or that your channel has recently?
I just was sitting down. I'm like, if I make vlogs, like there's only so many things I could record in a day. And it's like, is my life really that interesting? Like, I really don't want to be
Mhm.
putting my life, like trying to monetize my life that way. I was like, what can I do where I could sit down and I could film like maybe even like 5 videos a day if I wanted to. You can't really film 5 vlogs in a day. Like it's not really scalable. It's one by one if it's a daily vlog. And it took me like 200 days to figure that out, because I think I did vlogs for 200 something days.
Whoa.
But that was part of my journey of like just like the grind and of editing, learning how to edit, learning how to do camera work, learning how to do YouTube, learning what I did and didn't like about it. And that's fine. Like the skill sets that I built from that is great. But I wanted something more like scalable where I could film multiple videos in a day, and even like haul videos or garage sale videos. Like you can only film one of them in a day unless you get really creative with the way that you edit. And a 1-to-1 ratio to me wasn't what I wanted to be stuck at. So thinking like the DIY fixing things, I was like, oh, I'm doing it anyways. So maybe there will be people out there searching for the tutorials or something online. So I threw some stuff out and it started to stick. So once I saw a little bit of money and success from that, I was like, okay, well, yeah, there's a market for it. So I'm going to just continue doing what's actually successful, because my wife wasn't too happy that I wasn't working with a pharmacy degree and I wasn't making good YouTube money either, but I was still doing YouTube. So she's like, stop wasting your time, like start making some money. So it kind of came together when it needed to.
Yeah, funny how that works. But yeah, we're so glad that started that started bearing fruit for you, because I've seen your channel just really shift into that, and some of your videos have gotten many thousands of views, and that's a very long-term thing.
Yeah,
it
it's
seems
a totally different approach, and it's one that I don't know, I'm okay with it. Like I don't have to serve an audience, which is good in a way. Like I don't feel pressured to make videos, which I think is a plus. If I shifted into an insurance video I put out like yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't get any backlash from it. Like, oh, I missed your haul videos. Like, what the heck are you doing? And like, I don't know. It's just, I'm able to do a little bit more creative freedom when I don't really feel like I have eyes watching. The only eyes that are watching are the ones that are searching for it and finding it to solve a problem.
Right. Yeah, that's a great. I think that's gonna be really good as
it's just a different approach.
Continue to
having an audience in itself has a lot of pros too, because you have the relationship building and you have the expectation. Maybe the pressure is a good thing, because I actually work better with pressure. So maybe that's why I put out videos a little bit more sparsely. But there's pros and cons to like both ways of doing it, and I just found what kind of like works for me and my lifestyle right now. So I've just been experimenting with what I've seen like a little bit of success in.
Yeah, you've casted a wider net, and that's worked out pretty well. And Justin, the flipping count, says, I watch those smelting videos too. It's mesmerizing. So casting a wide net like that. We watch a lot of reselling content, but I've come across those smelting videos for random things, and I went down a rabbit hole, watched 2 or 3 or 4 or 10. So anyway, Jen says, I live a life of a poor man because it's so peaceful and stress free. Having zero debt is truly blissful, and that resonates with us.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it is. It's peaceful. It really is. Like I wish the joy of like not having debt onto everybody, because it was life-changing for me. And I can imagine, and with how little I had compared to what some people have, I imagine it would just be like tenfold.
Right. Yeah.
So with that in mind, people go from kind of Dave Ramsey to like this debt-free journey to us. After Financial Peace University, there is Financial Independence Graduate School. It's kind of a funny thing that we like to say in general. Do you have any thoughts about financial independence in general, or the movement of financial independence?
I think that it's great that people are talking about it, because when I grew up, I had no idea what debts or what income my parents had. I had no idea. Like nobody talked about it, so I didn't learn any of it as a kid. And while people are talking about it, maybe they will be able to teach their kids about it, and they can learn it from other sources. If there wasn't people talking about it, I wouldn't know about it right now. I probably would just have not, I don't know, gone and bought any assets. So it's just good that it's out there and people are openly talking about it, and it's created a whole nother space of income streams for people, because you can make money talking about making income streams.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say that you are like trying to reach financial independence now that you've, finished with debt? Is that kind of your goal, or are you just kind of focused on?
I feel like we're quasi there because what we bring in is more than what we spend, and we still have like a nice cushion of I don't know, it's not really 401k, it's like just a brokerage and then IRA stuff, and then her IRA or rolled over 401k stuff. So I feel like we have quasi made that. It's not like our the goal of where we would like to be super duper comfortable and totally feel like we can teach other people about it. But I feel like for us, can I talk about numbers? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I brought some numbers. Yeah. So YouTube ads get better around November, December. So I broke 3,000, which is great for me because our expenses are only like around 3,000 a month. My wife does all the expenses and stuff, so she's not here. I don't even know where the spreadsheet's at. But between the YouTube and affiliates of videos that I've made in the past that I would just like, if I just shut YouTube off right now and continue to make it, I think it would generate around that for a while. And that's like the most passive that we have, as well as what do we got? Another 3,500 in dividends, which I think is passive income. So it all ends up being less than what we spend, and we can still, and it's growing. Like the videos that I make have to rank, and once they rank, they'll peak, and then it'll either be consistent, dip down a little bit, or it'll just continue to climb as they rank. And not all of them have even ranked, so it is still like climbing as well. So
yeah, definitely a long tail for some of those.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good part about the type of videos that you're doing, because like for ours, like with hauls and with what's old videos, it's like it peaks at a certain point and then it ends. Like at a certain point, no one cares what sold a year ago,
exactly
6 months ago, because like you said earlier, those things aren't in style anymore. They aren't selling, the
They're
trends
not,
and
no.
everything changes, the market changes, etc.
But videos are making you practice editing. It's getting you practicing your speaking skills. So there is this like personal value of them as well, and you can look back on them too, which is always cool. Or chop them up in the future and use it for like smaller content, which I never even thought about any of that like back in the day. There is like some other sides of value to them, but the like the views and that whatever the ads would come in would peak and then kind of trail off.
Right.
Are you at the point in your investing, you had mentioned your brokerage account just a little bit, are you at the point in which you continue to reinvest those dividends, or do you actually take them as income?
They're all dividend reinvestments, so they all just go back in.
Cool. Well, what do you have for the plans of the future? At what point do you feel like you might stop making YouTube videos or transition into something else? Do you have anything you're exploring now that you haven't actually, revealed to your community or anything?
Since I enjoy doing it, I don't think I'll ever stop doing it. I feel blessed to be able to do what I like. I like repairing stuff, which is like really weird, I guess. I could just sit there and mess with stuff for like hours and try to figure it out, and then try to explain it to somebody else to fix the same problem. I don't find myself to stop doing it at any time soon. I'd like to get the income between YouTube ads and affiliates up to at least like 10K. I think would be a very, very good goal. Oh yeah, my wife's blog too. I didn't even mention that. I think she hit $600 on her blog this month.
Wow.
And she started the blog a little over a year ago.
That's amazing.
And it's very minimally monetized with just ads. So we don't collect emails. We don't sell products. Like there's so many other things we could do to generate money with it. And it's already at $600, and we're blown away. She's blown away. Like that's her little baby that she wrote all these articles for. So it's really cool to see that.
Do you want to plug that?
What's the topic of her blog?
It's all organic search. It's fulfilledmerchant.com. It's organic search. We talk about the same thing, printers. We talk about small business solutions, shipping, and we try to just write stuff that people are searching for and need answers. Really
nice. Cool. Yeah. Well, does she do SEO searches and then write specifically based off of those searches, or
there's a lot of that's one thing you can do is look for things that are trending or coming out. But other ways you can see it is like what's really popular on Reddit or popular in Facebook groups, because those things they're not on Google, they're just in the social media space, and there needs to be like a more permanent presence of them online, so she can kind of like take advantage of that as well.
Nice, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's hard when like I was searching for an answer on something about eBay the other day, and all I could find was like old eBay forums or old Reddit like questions, and it was like, okay, this is not official. Like no one has given me a tutorial.
That's like an SEO
anything,
tip.
Yeah.
If it's something that you think is like really, really needed, and that's what's coming up, like it's very easy to outrank Reddit or eBay forums. Forums are very easy to outrank.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Well, that sounds very sustainable for your future. We think that reselling is kind of a timeless thing. What percentage do you think of your time is spent on reselling versus social media or YouTube?
I'm really bad about breaking up my time. Like I don't keep track of any of this, but the income that we make from reselling is greater than what we make from like everything else. But we put a lot more time into the blog, into the articles, into the YouTube, into editing than what we're making. That we put more hours into social media for sure than what we're than resale. Because when we're out and about, like doing we went to the grocery store and then we just stopped by a thrift store real quick. It was like impromptu, 25 minutes there, done. And then we come home and we'll just like list stuff while we're, I don't know, watching TV or while we're listening to something. And it's like a way to monetize like Netflix or something where you're just, otherwise you'd be wasting time if you can multitask. So,
Right. Like you might as well be listing if
exactly.
Instead you
or
would
drafting.
like be knitting or crocheting or whatever other thing you
or
would
not
be.
even, some people just watch it and don't even knit. So it's like,
or they'd be watching, like what I sometimes do is I'll watch Netflix, but then I'm also watching TikTok at the same time. Like I can't just do one thing,
oh wow. Yeah.
You
Netflix
can't just do
TikTok,
the one
that
thing.
would be tough.
She's got this whole other thing going on. So Justin says you inspired him to make more tutorials. Been chatting about it lately, going hard on YouTube next year.
Tutorials are great. I really wish I would have. It was one video I had make actually, because it was about resale. I had taken off something with embroidery, and then that video was technically a tutorial. I was like going to remove it to sell it, and I made a video about it because there was no other videos. And then that video ended up being my best video. And I was like, what the heck? Why am I making content about reselling if I could just make videos about this?
Nice.
Like I reached 800,000 people with that video over 8 years, I think.
Nice.
And
wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, more of those. So Jen asked, do you love Pokemon or love Pokemon?
I don't love Pokemon. It's all right. Like I grew up with it. I'm not Poke obsessed. I have some cards from a flea market find like 7 years ago. I think I still have some of the cards. I sold off some of them. I post Pokemon stuff here and there, but I'm not like obsessed with it. I wouldn't even be able to tell you any of the new Pokemon names or generations or anything.
Yeah, I used to be kind of addicted to the pack opening videos like 2 years ago when things started to really ramp up. Now it's just crazy the type of money people are making YouTube videos about opening packs of Pokemon cards, and then they also get to sell the Pokemon cards.
And then making NFTs about the YouTube videos of them opening the pack of Pokemon and selling the NFT.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So Amber asked, what's been your best flip? Was it the recent pair of boots that you sold?
It wasn't the boots. That was one of the more fun flips, if we have time for that story. But the best flip was a Levi's jacket, which was $1.50 at a garage sale and sold for $5,700.
Whoa!
Wait, why?
Tell us
why
more.
would it sell for that much?
It was like a vintage jacket from the 50s that was mint condition. Yeah, usually Levi's stuff, especially back in the day before it became fashion, was workwear. And some of the stuff that was, or a lot of the stuff back then was beat, so it wasn't in good condition. But this just happened to be in such beautiful condition, and it was a very rare piece, really, really desirable dark indigo color. And I had just posted it for a moon price, and I think the guy offered $2,000 less than what I was asking. I think I had it up for like $7,700. But as soon as I posted it, I think I got messages from dealers trying to buy it for like $2,000 or $3,000. And I knew that was just people that were going to flip it. And
Right.
I wanted it to end up going to Japan because that's where the collectors are. And I ended up selling it to a guy in Japan, and it was
Nice.
no middleman or anything. So
Nice.
Yeah.
That must have been what the garbage monster referenced earlier.
yeah, it was probably the jacket. There's a post of it on my Instagram if you guys want to see pictures of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Yeah.
check
The
that out.
jacket, yeah.
Well, how did you do the research on that one?
So with Levi's stuff, there's such a big following where there is enough of a trail on Google, and
Okay.
there's I don't think I reached out to any experts. I think I found an article that was talking about it, and then I ended up finding very similar actives, not on eBay, but on a site called Rakuten, which was like a Japanese marketplace before they bought Ebates. It was it was just like a Japanese store, like a buy it now storefront. And I found a couple, I think 1 or 2 on that site, and they were around that price.
Nice. That's amazing. Well, why don't we ask you about the boots story then?
Sure.
Since
The boots was
seems
fun.
to be
That's more relevant.
recent,
It was like a
more
month
recent.
ago.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the jacket sold like maybe 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. It was a
Wow.
while. But the boots was like a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
I had dropped my wife off at the gym, and then on the way back, stopped by a thrift store, found 2 pairs of boots. I only bought one because it was branded. The second pair I didn't buy because I couldn't find a brand on it. But when I got home, I was doing more research on the leather, and I found out, oh, it was Anteater. The Anteater leather was banned in the 2000s, and the only stuff that you can buy is the stuff that was made back in the day, because it's now like this very endangered animal. It's a pangolin. It's not actually an anteater, but they call it the armored anteater. It's a mammal with like these crazy looking scales, and the boots are really beautiful. And I messaged my wife after I found out like people want the leather, not necessarily the brand. I was like, you need to take your friend and go get those boots at the thrift store, like right when you're done with the gym, because her friend was going to drop her back off at the house. And I was like, y'all need to buy it. Let her buy it, because she's been saving for a wedding, and she's has been wanting to learn about eBay. And I was like, it's a perfect item. And then they went and bought it and brought it back to our apartment. She made an eBay listing with her and showed her how to do it and took pictures of it. And we ran an auction because we didn't really know what they were worth. There wasn't a ton of comps. And as soon as she listed it, it was like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And the bids went up to like $800. But actually, before the bids went crazy, she got a direct message asking to buy it outright for $179. So she was like, okay, somebody wants these. And we're like, that means they're valuable. Somebody's trying to lowball you whenever you get the first message. You never want to take the first offer. So it like cha-ching, $800. We were all like giggling, laughing. It was so fun to watch. And then all throughout the week, she was like letting us know how the auction was going. And they ended up crossing over $1,500 for those boots. And she paid $40 for them. So
that's amazing.
My gosh.
Yeah, it was great.
I was following that, and I was showing her, oh man, look at where it's at.
It was so fun, because everyone was like messaging me like, how do you have no feedback on your account or whatever? And because it wasn't my account, it was her. It was, which made it so much more fun to watch her get it, because it took her mind off of like the wedding stress and everything. And it was just fun for us all to watch the auction. Like it was really cool to watch. And she brought them over, and we helped her pack them and everything.
Nice. And so the buyer paid, it sounds like, but was there anything? Were you afraid because she had zero feedback that something was going to happen?
No, I don't. Not really. It went to a border town in Mexico, and the guy looked like a boot collector, and everything was good. The boots being unbranded was actually good, because it meant that they were custom, which I had kind of an idea. As soon as I started doing more research, I was like, okay, these actually look way better. I don't know why I didn't buy these when I was at the store. They look way better than the Tony Lamas that I bought. I should have bought these. They're beautiful boots. I'm an idiot. Like, I didn't want to go back, but it worked out for the better anyways.
Right. Well, that's awesome for your friend. What a great first flip.
It's like heroin now. She's not going to be able to go to like a $40 flip.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the Hoogs found the Levi's video. If anyone's interested, please watch it after you watch this. Okay. So, when you think about kind of, later on in your life,
Mhm.
do you ever think about an age that you want to retire, kind of just put this all behind you and kind of just
I
live it
don't.
up?
No,
No?
I don't think I'm ever gonna live it up. I'm always like I told my wife, I was like, I feel like I've been retired for even when I was doing pharmacy contracts. It was like I don't know. I don't have to work a 9 to 5. Uh,
Mhm.
it was just temporary. It felt like I was just because a lot of the people that do pharmacy contracts are old retired pharmacists because they
Mm,
like
Oh,
are so
really?
sick of Walgreens, they're so sick of CVS, and they're so
Mhm.
bored in retirement that they like go work in some rural location for a government site where it's like super chill, and they just do like the bare minimum to get paid, and
nice.
Mhm.
it's like I felt like I was kind of retired at the time, especially now without the debt.
Mhm.
Like I'm doing what I feel like I would be doing in retirement. I'd still would want to be going to like garage sales, estate sales, thrift shops, fixing things, and uh, keeping them out of landfills.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like kind
I
of
don't think
a
I'm going to pick it.
yeah, yeah,
Pick a day or
yeah. It sounds like sort of a retired state of mind. Yeah. Instead of
Nice.
having to actually retire. That's the dream, that everyone has is like that you live a life that you don't want to retire from,
yeah.
for sure. So, what advice would you have for someone just starting out on their kind of financial journey, financial freedom, financial independence? What would you kind of
Or the,
suggest?
destroying debt.
Yeah, log into the accounts, look at the debt,
Mhm.
and just see what your daily interest rate is. I think I ended up
Mhm.
calculating that, and that kind of motivated me too, knowing that it was like a daily interest rate
Hmm.
that I was
Mhm.
accumulating, and then putting myself into the culture. So watching
Mhm.
Dave Ramsey literally like almost every day, trying to like listen into the phone calls and just like keep yourself on track because
Mhm.
if you stay off the track, you probably won't get it done. You really need to put it as a priority and like surround yourself with it as much as you can.
Mhm.
Nice. Did you ever call in and get to do the yell?
I didn't even get retweeted or re-Instagrammed by Dave Ramsey for
Ah,
my
Oh,
picture.
really?
I thought it was yeah, and I think that's my most liked picture on Instagram, and he never even saw it. So it's like
ah,
whatever.
Dang.
It's
whatever,
all good.
man.
I forgive you,
Whatever,
Dave.
Dave.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if anyone has any additional questions, please feel free to ask them. We're wrapping up here in the next 13 minutes. So, with regard to just debt in general, we always think the only debt that we have is our mortgage, and we're trying to get to the point where I think we we're kind of teeter tottering between um, 4% interest rate for our mortgage and
Mhm.
investing, which is this year total stock market index is averaging about 24%. And so do you have any thoughts when it comes to the difference or investing the difference,
Mhm.
or you know uh, debt, mortgage debt versus investing? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because
Yeah,
a lot
and
of people will
with
go one.
inflation, like
Mhm,
inflation's good for having debts because it makes the money like worth kind of less. You know what I mean?
mhm.
When you're paying it
Mhm.
back. So with the inflation and then the markets being so fruitful, it seems like yeah,
Mhm.
just keep making minimum payments and
Yeah.
or refi if it's even
Mhm.
if it's worth it, depending on whatever the principal is, and then investing for the rest of it. But
Yeah.
if you're planning on living there for a while too, it's going to appreciate enough.
Mhm.
I would say. I mean, I don't even own any real estate. I'm trying to give you guys real estate advice,
No, no, no,
but
that's
it'll
okay.
probably appreciate, and just the fact that you're having all the equity in it, it's
Yeah.
like a way better play, anyways. Just
Mhm.
it'll appreciate past what you're paying in interest, probably.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that that's probably what we'll end up doing. Do you have any plans on real estate in the near
Uh,
future?
that's one of the things I'm like cursed with because I'm so cheap and I've figured out like how to get
Mhm.
clothes for cheap, how to get a car for cheap, how
Mhm.
to get shoes for cheap, how to get kitchen appliances for cheap. Like I
Mhm.
haven't figured out how to get real estate for cheap yet. And I'm kind of I don't know, I'm waiting for something to pop up at Goodwill that's just like oceanfront property. So just hasn't happened yet. I don't
Have
know.
you have you looked into house hacking much?
I mean, I understand the concept of it, but my wife like most of the places that are in duplex neighborhoods, like my wife wouldn't want to live there.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So it's like that would have been great for if I was by myself, but yeah, it's a whole
Mhm.
nother hurdle.
Right.
and she doesn't want to like rent out rooms to random people or anything like that. So I don't know.
Well, being a landlord we've heard too many horror stories. So that's definitely a deterrent for us.
I've met a guy at pickleball the other day that's a landlord, but he does it really. I like the way he does it. It's very, very smart. It's always around a college, and then he's renting to those college students, getting the guarantor from the parents.
Nice.
And then he's able to almost like rent out the rooms instead of like just the one piece of property. Yeah, you're dealing with college kids that are going to party, but like build that into cost. And the fact that you're not going to have like non-payers is like a huge thing. And you're always going to have students coming in. And that's going to be an appreciating part of the neighborhood. So he's done really, really well with that model. And I was like, yeah, that's a great way to do it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, as far as your core investments goes, it sounds like I think you and I messaged a little bit back and forth. Your core investments seem to be index funds. Is that what you do?
Actually, I have a breakdown. I wrote
Oh,
it
yeah?
down. Yeah, it's
If
actually,
you're okay.
I like it. You're so prepared. I love it.
So I'm actually, this is bad. I'm so young, so this is why I'm taking on more of the risk. But I'm like 90% stocks.
Oh, wow.
10% ETFs. But with my wife, I think we're closer. Our total assets is probably closer to like 80% stocks, 20% ETFs. And I'm about 2% of crypto, GME, and AMC.
Meme stocks. All right.
Yeah, it's about 2%. And I got into AMC before it was a meme stock. So just for the record.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You're way ahead of the curve.
I got lucky on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you explain to people who might not know what an ETF is?
I don't know the
exchange traded fund.
I get confused because there's like another one. My wife's read the Bogglehead book, and there's like ETFs and there's another one that starts with an E that isn't, but it's just like a bucket of stocks that follow like an index, and there's some back end magic that happens with the brokerage, I guess, it creates the ETF and runs it to where it follows that index because they I guess are actively buying and selling, or maybe at a certain time of the month are buying and selling those assets, something like that. Well, but it's like a very simple form of investing that follows an index.
Yeah. So that's mainly what we do.
Yeah. It's the smart way to do it with the lowest amount of risk and the guaranteed way to do it.
Right. And an index fund covers multiple stocks rather than just like you don't own just one company, you own parts of many companies.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just so that we're not, talking insider baseball on here. And
I just don't understand like all the back end of it, of how they do own all of that stuff and then how it translates. I don't understand all that, but I know it was made by like Jack Bogglehead, like back in the day. That investment product has been revolutionary for like middle class.
Right.
Because the diverse portfolio, like back maybe in the 60s was, I think, maybe like 25 or 30 different stocks, when you can now buy one thing that's diverse between like the entire index of the entire American stock market, or just the S&P 500. So it's just so much easier the way that they've built the products.
Right. So you seem like a very DIY heavy guy based on, all your content and whatnot. Well, what made you want to DIY investing and all of that? Well, when did you get into it?
Because I'm just so dang cynical about like trusting the banks with my money. Because that like they're gonna, Wells Fargo, buy the Wells Fargo ETF, like buy our product. Like I don't know, I don't trust the bankers because I don't know what they actually have their money in. I don't know if they're actually even debt free, and I'm gonna be trusting this person with my money. So for me, that was like a barrier. I was like, I gotta learn that, and I learned it the hard way. Like I've had some really bad trades, like I've had some really bad trades, but I have learned my lesson on a lot of the stuff and gotten out, I think, with minimal damage. And overall, very, very, very up, but some very, very painful watching AMC. Like I bought AMC when it was like $16 and paid a dividend, and then it like crashed to like $2, and there it's like, oh, there goes $6,000, whatever. Like I'm never gonna see that again. So I just
held on to it.
Yeah, I held on to it and got lucky. So, but there's another stock that I bought that I lost like $15,000 and never saw that $15,000 again. So,
oh man,
it's
ups and downs.
Yeah,
well, that's partially why I've stopped trading stocks, and we have gone the total stock market index, and we talk about that all the time in our in our channel where we invest some of our profits and
Mhm.
kind of show the community what the potential is. And so we're pretty risk averse, and
Yeah, no, it's
we don't
good.
want to.
Yeah.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I just have, I don't know. I'll eventually gonna sell off and invest it into safer stuff. But
Well, it's
right
kind of
now,
fun too.
yeah,
I would
it
imagine that's
is.
a part of that for
Seeing
you.
like 300% gain in like a
Yeah.
year is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Apple was really good to me. Ford stock was a dog, but it's been really good to me now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually got really, really lucky in oil during the coronavirus crash. So
Wow. Nice.
Nice.
Well, hey, Angie. She says, I'm almost exclusively in index funds
Mhm.
across small, large, international, and G and I. I'm afraid of
Mhm.
individual stocks. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the mentality we have. I think that, at one point when I was, following the stock market and trading heavily, um, and then kind of the transition was thinking about my risk profile and then subsequently joining the financial independence movement and kind of thinking about it more. To us, index funds just make a lot more sense because
yeah,
we
it's
don't want
like
to be jumping in
automated.
and out. And
Yeah.
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 And we have the foundation of it, like
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
we're investing in it. And my wife's, I have like, I guess my play money that I'm playing with, but
Yeah,
I
it works out. It's
Yeah.
fun.
I think
If you got play money and it's
yeah,
fun, then do it.
the
Yeah.
stocks, they're all like long-term gains now. I'm eventually going to cash
Mhm.
them out. I think once I
Mhm.
feel like they've grown to what I can get out of them, and then I think
Mhm.
it's going to just be a real estate purchase with the
Nice.
cash.
Right.
Nice. That'd be
Yeah.
really cool. Well, we're coming to the end of it, and we've got four final questions for you. If no one has any questions, we're gonna end with these final four.
Yeah. So, what are your favorite finance related books, YouTube, channels, podcasts, or Instagram accounts? What are some of your faves?
I don't read a lot of financial books. The one that
Mhm.
I did read though was the Dave Ramsey Complete Guide to Money, and I thought that was pretty good
Mhm.
when I had read that. I feel
Mhm.
like the book stuff, I'm past a lot of it now,
Mhm.
and it's more of just experience, and now just not experience. It's more of just the automation of it and
Mhm.
doing it, like the
Mhm.
experience of investing,
Right.
I guess,
Right.
like the actual physical part of it and the making of the money and putting it into stuff. Because I kind of already know the pathway, and like a lot of
Mhm.
it's about like getting out of debt or like how to get rid of credit card debt or whatever.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm past a lot of that. And
Yeah.
I'm not looking for how to, I don't know, like calculate the beta on the stock, and I don't know,
Right.
Yeah, we're not into that
Right.
yet.
Yeah.
Fibonacci trends and stuff. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to read all that stuff. So I think like the
Yeah.
Complete Mind of Money was good. On for YouTube on financial stuff, I followed Nate O'Brien at a point. I found him. I thought he had a really cool way of presenting stuff. Like I liked his
Mhm.
personality. He was like a young entrepreneur guy selling
Mhm.
mealworms at farmers markets and stuff.
Nice.
Or no, I think he sold them online. I think he used to be like from like a farm family and grew mealworms. Graham Stephan, a lot of people like
Mhm.
him. I
Mhm.
think he's pretty good with this stuff. Very entertaining. And then this guy named Meet Kevin, he's kind of cringy on some stuff, like
Hmm.
hard to watch because of
Mm.
how like outrageous he like colors his hair and stuff. But I think his
Mhm.
market analysis of stuff is really good to
Mhm.
listen to. And then of course Dave Ramsey, if you're trying to get rid of the debt stuff, he's probably the best bang for your buck to listen to get the motivation out of it.
Nice.
Mhm.
I don't really listen to any podcasts. Don't really follow anyone on Instagram, but I did follow the Mr. Money Mustache blog back in the day.
Mhm.
I would read that at work, and I thought his like kind of non-conventional views on things and like his
Mhm.
very nerdy way of breaking down stuff and talking about some very, I guess, controversial topics like not having a car, or like things like
Mhm.
that, where
Yeah.
he would talk about it's actually better to not buy a truck and just rent a truck once every 4 months when you need one or whatever. Like
Right.
those kind
Mhm.
of things were kind of cool to read about. So I
Yeah.
like the Mr. Money Mustache blog was pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's one of our favorites too. What is it? The easy. What is it? What was the blog post? The simple
Oh.
math to early retirement is kind of what is the. He's like the OG of
Yeah, he's one of the
financial
original.
independence.
I think he's
Yeah.
one of the first people I stumbled upon
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
in the
if you want
financial
to,
space.
whoever's in the chat, if you want to look that up, Mr. Money Mustache and the simple math to early retirement, that's kind of like a groundbreaking thing that people always talk about in the financial independence community.
Yeah.
But moving on, was there any one specific reseller, YouTube or social media account that got you started on reselling, or did you kind of do that that whole college thing, and that's kind of what clicked?
Back when I was doing videos, there was not really videos. It was all people that were doing it and then kind of brought it to YouTube. They didn't discover it off YouTube. They all discovered it in their own right. And then we kind of were using YouTube as a forum to communicate and not feel lonely about what we were doing. And there are some, can I like drop some names of people you probably like never heard of? Redneck Picker was a guy like way back in the day. I think he started making videos before me. This guy named Global Voodoo, he was making videos, I think about a year before I, Bonafide, I found all these people after I started making videos, but Bonafide Hustler, I think, made a video 1 month before me. If I look at his, the history of his videos, I started making videos before Steve Rakin. So he was original, one of the guys. It was like less than 20 people. Another one's Yankee Picker, Warwick Warrior. O Unit Productions was a guy that would do the first live streams. So if you dig into O Unit Productions, you'll find some stuff that you can't even, it won't come up in search. His channel doesn't get any views anymore, but he did the original like live streams with some of the original people. Another guy named Yankee Picker. I'm sure I'm forgetting some more. Oh, Will Terminal 99. He's actually still making videos. He was one of the first guys to be doing it too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nuts. So we kind of already talked a little bit about this, but what has been your favorite thing to sell?
Or
usually
category?
we ask, the highest dollar, just the coolest thing, but why don't you share what your favorite thing kind of to sell that you can find often that you feel like is kind of sort of the basis of your
I like fixing stuff and then selling it because I feel like that I might have saved it from a different fate, I guess. So if I can fix something like an electronic and sell it, or even like a shoe or something, I feel like that. But clothing is the most scalable, I would say. So that's always fun to just pack and pull and be like, oh, okay, this little square of space in my house was worth $200 for like a 4-week lease of I don't know, that much space in my room or something. So it's like kind of interesting to do that. So clothes are fun, but I think I would say fixing electronics is my favorite.
Nice. Yeah. Well, specifically for the clothing, that's partially why we do clothing, or a lot of the reason why, because we can fit 500 items in our one room in the house, and it works out just fine. So one last question here, and then we've got one from the flipping accountant. Actually, why don't we do this first?
Yeah.
So what mic should he buy for the recent camera buy he had?
I would just try the internal mic first. If not that, then just get I have a cheap Sony lav mic that I plug in to it. I think it was maybe like $17, and I just it's like a clip-on mic. I don't know the model number off the top of my head.
You'll have to DM him.
And the camera equipment's in the other room. But I mean, the one I use, I bought new, the Sony one, but then the other one I bought from a pawn shop, it was a Rode Video Mic Pro. It's really good, but it's directional. At least a clip mic, it's like here. But it gets kind of annoying if you're moving around and wearing a jacket, because then it can kind of scratch too. So
right.
Well, Justin, you'll have to reach out to him and get that answer a little later. So hey Joe, just want to say hi. Justin says VTSAX would win. Not financial advice, but we would agree with that in general. So one last question. Why don't you just can you just plug your IG or other social media account?
Sure.
Just in case,
Instagram is the College Picker. That's probably where I'm the most active. That's where most of the resale content goes. I don't know. It's just easier to pull out the phone, record stuff when I'm at the thrift store, or I'm at the pawn shop, or we're listing, or we're shipping something, than to try to make a whole YouTube production about it. So I've been kind of reserving YouTube for tutorials, things to park and let people watch, or guides, or something that I'm trying to publish to help somebody else in like more of an evergreen manner. So Instagram, the College Picker, probably the best place to get a hold of me.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This was so much fun. And we hope that you join us next month, where we ring in the new year with the Hoogs. They're in the chat, and we're so excited. And we thank you so much, Eric, for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. We have had so much fun. Have a good night, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.